trip continues on to Maine to see iconic sights, from lobster rolls to sailing ships and gorgeous harbor nights. You don't want to miss these pictures. Welcome back to my travel window and the third installment of our 6-week adventure to the castles of the UK and back. Behind me is a picture of a bridge in Bristol, England, which is where we are at the moment. But right now, today's episode, I'm going to catch you up on the final parts of our US visit. Today's episode, we leave the hot and sticky Philadelphia and Newport and work our way into the picturesque and cooler state of Maine. You'll notice that I bought my traditional trip souvenir hat, opting for something to shield my bald head from the summer sunshine. All in all, we spent 6 nights in Maine. Our primary target was the quaint town of Bar Harbor. It's the gateway to Acadia National Park and a delightful destination location in its own right. We spent 3 nights there, could easily have stayed longer. But on the way there, we spent a couple nights in a rare gem Airbnb in Richmond, Maine, a small village of about 2,000 people that served up great lobster rolls and excellent pastries. We used our one full sightseeing day while we were in Richmond to drive to nearby Portland, where we took a ferry to Peaks Island, enjoyed some beach time, and checked out Portland Head Lighthouse on the way back. You can see why this lighthouse is the most photographed lighthouse in the United States. We had 2 options for driving on to Bar Harbor. We originally opted to bypass the interstate, thinking the slower road closer to the coast would be more scenic. But the first portion of that option just turned out to be slower, bumpier version of the same scenery, and we veered back to the main highway for a little more comfortable drive. We were at Bar Harbor in peak season, and the hotel rooms and parking places were at a premium. We opted for an Airbnb on the highway about 6 miles out of town. Would do that again, although the room we chose was too small to be comfortable for 3 people. Access to town was quick, and it's better to get away from the crowds. Parking is a particular issue in Bar Harbor, but you will discover that there are 2 streets in town that allow all-day parking for $1.50 an hour using your credit card. You'll come to appreciate both the length of time and the price once you're there for a little bit. The downtown area is very compact, roughly 5 blocks each way. Plan to shop, eat, explore at a leisurely pace, and you'll enjoy it much better. One of our favorite parts was dipping in for a little ice cream and a sub sandwich and eating it on a park bench and watching the tourists go by. We spent a full day in Acadia National Park. We were blessed with pleasant weather. We enjoyed the 3 iconic stops within the park: beautiful sand beach, the stunning views from Cadillac Mountain, and an excellent lunch at the National Park restaurant on Jordan Pond. As one of our friends told us, Acadia never disappoints. After this visit, I would put it on my list of the top 10 favorite national parks, realizing that I've been to 20 or 25. That's a high compliment, and there's stiff competition in that list. Our other full-day sightseeing was consumed mostly by a 5-hour whale-watching tour. Again, we had a spectacular day for this activity. The guides remarked frequently how unusual it is to have the sea be so calm as to be glassy at several points. This aided the search for whales tremendously. We saw fleeting glimpses of 7 different whales, but focused attention on 4 of the humpbacks, a mother-baby pair, and a small grouping of 2 older whales feeding together. We observed whale activity for at least half the time we were on the water. It was a very satisfying trip. From here, we're going to return our young guest to her home near DC, going to fly to our next stop, Dublin, Ireland. And since this is intended to be an educational video, Let me share a few tips from our experience on this part of the journey, our first 10 days. First, check out the Airbnbs. If you do your research well, you can find more pleasant accommodations for less money and often more out of the way and more relaxing. Two, travel closer to shoulder season if you can. August is hot, 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 and the crowds are high, high, high. Three, consider train travel. For us, especially with the young companion, the 2-hour train trip was great. The 6-hour one, a little too long and more uncomfortable. In all, we stayed in 5 places in 10 nights. If we did it again, we'd figure out how to stay in a few places a little bit longer. Lastly, if you're a senior like us, make it a point to share travel time with some of your younger relatives, kids, grandkids, especially if you can have some one-on-one time. Life is too short and memories too valuable to waste the opportunity. The next report will be from Ireland. Until then, safe travels.